What would you do if 5 men stormed into a restaurant and went straight for the richest man in the room, while everyone else froze in fear? Most people would turn their heads, praying not to get involved. But one man didn't. He wasn't wealthy, he wasn't famous. He was just a single dad, sitting quietly with his daughter, trying to enjoy dinner. No one knew that his past held a skill powerful enough to change everything that happened next. This isn't just a story about violence. It's about courage, redemption, and how one moment can rewrite the meaning of a man's life. It was a Friday night, the kind of evening where the city lights spilled onto the sidewalks, and the soft hum of traffic mixed with laughter from restaurants. Inside one of the most luxurious dining spots in town, a CEO sat at a reserved table. His presence was unmistakable: sharp suit, expensive watch, the kind of aura that made waiters stand straighter and guests whisper. To most, he was untouchable. But tonight, he was more vulnerable than he realized. At a quieter corner of the same restaurant, Daniel sat across from his 10-year-old daughter, Emma. He wasn't anyone important by society's measure. His clothes were simple, his hands calloused from working odd jobs, and his face carried the lines of someone who had seen too much, too young. Years ago, Daniel served as a combat veteran. Now, he was just trying to give his daughter the normal life she deserved, piecing it together paycheck by paycheck. Emma smiled as she picked at her pasta. "Dad, are you ever going to tell me one of your stories? The ones you said you'd share when I was older?" Daniel chuckled softly, shaking his head. "One day, kiddo. Some stories are heavy. For now, let's just enjoy dinner." But fate had other plans. The restaurant doors burst open. 5 men, rough and angry, stormed inside. Their voices cut through the chatter. One of them slammed his fist against a table, sending glasses shattering to the floor. Their eyes locked on the CEO, who froze in his seat as the color drained from his face. Panic spread. Diners ducked under tables. Staff ran for cover. But Daniel didn't move. His instincts sharpened in an instant. He scanned exits, noted the attackers' stances, the way they moved. Years of training whispered back to life. Emma's small hand clutched his arm. "Daddy, what's happening?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Daniel's heart pounded, not with fear, but with the weight of choice. He wanted nothing more than to protect his daughter, keep her safe and unseen. But he also knew, if no one acted, people could die. Including her. The leader of the attackers yanked the CEO by his collar, dragging him out of his chair. "Your money won't save you tonight," he snarled. And that's when Daniel stood up. The room went silent. Every eye shifted to the man in worn jeans and a plain shirt. To the 5 attackers, he looked ordinary. Harmless, forgettable. Let him go. Daniel's voice was calm, but it carried authority. The kind that made even hardened men hesitate. One of the thugs laughed. "And what are you gonna do, old man?" Daniel didn't answer. His body moved before words could catch up. Fast, precise, controlled. He disarmed the closest attacker with a fluid motion, sending the knife clattering across the marble floor. The restaurant gasped. Emma held her breath, her wide eyes glued to her father. The attackers lunged together. But this wasn't a fair fight, it was a lesson. Years of military training, muscle memory, and discipline surged through Daniel. He wasn't fighting to hurt, he was fighting to protect. Every move was deliberate, every strike designed to neutralize, not kill. Within minutes, the men who had walked in with violence now lay disarmed, restrained, and groaning in defeat. The CEO stared in shock, unable to comprehend how a stranger, an ordinary single dad, had just saved his life. Police sirens wailed in the distance as other patrons cautiously began to emerge from hiding. Emma ran to her father, clinging tightly to him. "Daddy, I didn't know you could do that." Daniel knelt, brushing her hair back gently. "It's not about what I can do, sweetheart. It's about knowing when to stand up for what's right." The CEO approached, his voice shaken. You saved me. You could have been killed. Why would you risk that for someone you don't even know?" Daniel looked at his daughter, then back at the man. "Because the world doesn't get better if we all look away. Someone has to stand." The weight of those words hung heavy in the room. It wasn't just about one fight. It was about life, responsibility, and the courage to do the right thing even when no one expects you to. As police escorted the attackers out, the CEO extended his hand. "The world needs more men like you. Whatever you need, I'll make sure you and your daughter are taken care of." Daniel didn't take the hand. He only shook his head. "Take care of yourself. Take care of your people. That's what matters." The camera of this story would fade on Daniel and Emma walking out into the cool night, hand in hand, with nothing more than the quiet dignity of knowing he had done the right thing. True courage isn't measured by wealth, status, or power. It's measured by the quiet choices we make when no one else dares to move. One man, a single father who thought his best days were behind him, proved that even in ordinary life, hidden skills and a brave heart can change everything.